And again, I've already warmed up this tissue. I've already figured out that my client's got good range of motion, so I'm fine. I'm really good at getting my elbows in all these places I shouldn't and not hurting people. So like I'll tell you to kind of hide your elbow and then you get in here, but I'll use my elbow. And I just learned how to kind of do it in a way that's not clunky, right? So I come in, work around. But what I'll do is I'll start to move his shoulder and arm around, and I won't force it up. I'm not going to the worst range of motion. I'm just kind of suggesting. A lot of times I don't really grab it. I just sort of support it so that I'm not overdoing things. So through here, I just come up, push. I mean, a lot of you probably do this in your practice. It's fairly simple coming up, but I'll get a lot of pressure both sides of that joint. I like to come up here, push against the face, and get in, and maybe I'll turn and come back. Get a pec run in there, down and through. I like to go same shoulder, same side. I'm going to take his hand and put it here. If I'm pretty comfy with my client, I put him right on there and I hold it tight and I come down. I think my client might not understand that. I kind of grip him like that and keep him off my shoulder, if that makes sense, right? Not shaming the client, but just saying maybe they don't have the right boundaries that I have, and so I'm going to make sure I don't push their boundaries. With him, I'm just going to hold on tight and I'm going to fall away. He's going to bend a lot more than most people do, but I will still bend him this far. This is what his body does. So I just fall away, and these don't roll here. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to stay right at this level. I'm not going to get up and lift him because that's going to be like bad for me. So I just come under here and just suggest he goes back. Go back. All right. I'll come all the way up. And this is kind of the most difficult part for most people. He does that pretty swimmingly, but I'll push heavy in there. I'm going through the chest. I'm going to push the head out of the way. Open that up as much as I can get, and get back in and do some more excavation in the armpit.
Oh, yeah.
Come back through. Pull. I look for things like they start to move their fingers because their arms are getting tingly, right? And so I'll ask them. He sits really nice on the table. If I'm going to work there a long time and he doesn't sit nice on the table, like this is kind of where he's at, I'll put a bolster there. So he's got it not hanging off a lot. And so that's just what we call freeing the wings. Now I'm going to get underneath him. And I'll come under here, and I'm all the force I have. I'm going to come under here, and I'm just going to push, and I kind of get a good anchor with my elbow, and I'm going to come up to the end and just use that shoulder. And with him, since he's going over, I'd probably come up here, and I'd probably start doing some work. Because he just gave it to me so easily. All right? Yeah, pull him over, keep the knee really big. Again, not every client, but the right clients, right? And so clients that are, circus acrobats, dancers, that kind of stuff. If you want to engage them, you've really got to do stuff a little out of the box. And so I'll sneak out. Okay, so something like that. You'll have different experiences. If you want to play with Travis, he's here all day. You can play with him. Okay? So, next thing is called Breath of Life. So, what I'll do is, I'll make sure I got some oil, probably balm on the sides. I like to get under his back too, so I'm gonna make sure I've got some there. This client I have asked, and he wants his chest open and he wants his full chest worked on, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, female or male, treat him the same way in my practice. Just sign the right disclosures. I'm going to bring the arms up, and I'm being really soft about it, so I don't take him through his worst range of motion and just keep going. So I make sure everything's good for him. It is okay. He sits flat, not worried about the arms being too far up. What I do worry with some clients about it, the hands are free back here, and so again, if I really know my client and we're good, I'm not worried about it. Other clients, I put hand on hand, put my thigh against their hands, let them know it's my thigh holding their hands so that everything's kind of kept in place. Some clients I have reach around my thigh and I pull, like my dancer clients, and so we figure out who they are.
Yeah, so I've had clients reach around my back.
Yep. And I'm gonna go through and just kind of challenge. So the hand is interesting, but when you get the forearm in, most people, that's a super challenging position. Him, not a big deal. I go all the way down. If you've got larger breasts, you have to figure that out. To the side, something like that. And then I grab back here and I just drop. And the end of that's really important, really getting that torque on there. Come up. This is really hard, so when I bring in tighter to the head, that gets a lot harder for them. Into the axillary.
I'll have to show them the picture of you touching
Yeah.
in front of my spine.
Yep. And pull in. I might say it's like a linebacker, way bigger than me, and I'm kind of outclassed there. Then I just go down one side. Do all sorts of work in here. Elbow in there. Move the joint around. Come down. Pulling. Do that same move backwards. Serratus. Just being nice, but that's probably a lot. Can't see him, so I'm really trying to feel if anything goes on in his nervous system that says no. All right, so that's breath of life. Set him back nicely. The shoulders are pretty high up here, so I make sure that I push them down. And I just want to get the shoulders back where I want them. Okay? I don't want to necessarily lift him up. I don't want to carry him. So I just rotate him. And I'm going to do the same thing when you're face down. I put my knee in his ear. So I get that angle I want so I can put him over my knee. So if I put my leg right here and just bring him over, all I'm going to do is just kind of break his arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him out of the way, put my knee in there, and it's kind of angled here, right? So I angle here. My butt's a little off the table still. And when I bring him over, his shoulder's over my leg. Okay? Looks cattywampus. How do you feel?
Good.
It's fine. Okay? You can work on him there. I want to bring him over a little bit, so I'm just going to hold him tight to my leg and bring him over. And so now I can do all sorts of trigger point work. I can do some great rotator cuff work. And if it's a big linebacker wrestler shoulder, I just got my elbow. I'm just using that. I ground my hands so my elbow's nice and stable. Make my runs or hold my points. Whatever you want to do there. Or drag. Come all the way out. A lot of work here. Here's you have a stool. Can you kick that over to me? I have a stool in my practice here, and so then I go like that. Lock his wrist. I can pull traction. Too much oil. I can really dig in there. Work out. Just right, easy stuff.
You know what I mean?
So that's the first part of that. We won't spend a lot of time in the pullover, but I'm going to give it to you today, and we'll see how we'll kind of play with that at the end as how much time we have. But what I do from here, so I take his arm, put it on his shoulder right here. Make sure the shoulder's kind of open. You can pull up different ways, especially as a non-therapist and that kind of stuff. For me, it's not a power move. If I can't get him up, I want to let him go. So a really heavy person with a good rotation of their spine, I can get up pretty easy. A light person with a really fused spine, I can't get up. So if it isn't working, just stop and set them down and pretend you weren't going to do anything. Just pretend you were just going to say hi to them, right? So nice deep inhale. I lift my leg up for momentum like I'm pitching the World Series pitch, and I just start to rotate. And as I rotate, oh, you bad boy. So it comes up, and I'm not going to use much strength at all to get him up. And he kind of balances. It's a pretty easy deal. I'll probably pull him up, and he'll end up like this first time we come up. And the group that we come out of Denver, they do this move, and it's a very undulating, relaxing, just experience, right? And so they really help me change it a lot. But what I find in this move is some of the best neck work I can get done anywhere. Under here. How we doing?
Good.
here. And clients are just going like, what in the hell's going on? But they're smiling while they say it, and they probably never had it before. And you can say, yeah, this is pretty unique. You can Yelp review me if you want, right? But they can't get us anywhere else except for our practice and a few others around town. And so, and with him, is he's in this kind of dancer world mode. I'm gonna go all the way over it.
That's a lot of trust right there. We lost
I
him.
know, you and I are just like, oh my god, please.
Next time.
And it's kind of ridiculous for a lot of people, but like again in my world, ballet people, that kind of stuff, it's like that they're stuck. They can't go anyplace else because this is pretty freaking awesome for them, and you know not many people do it.
Like this doesn't, I just feel relaxed doing this. I don't really feel a stretch anywhere. That's nice, huh?
Come under, flick his hand. There we go. Right, so you can get creative and play with it. That's the best thing. And he'll probably be off the table when I set him because I pulled him so far up. So I'm going to set him with his head drop back there. And he's okay with that because that's who he is.
He's like, wherever.
A lot of clients you wouldn't do that. You have to make your choices on that if it makes sense for a client to be in that position. Otherwise, I would bring him back and he'd be on my leg and then I'd go around and get him kind of thing. Here, look at his hair. So I'm not really lifting him. I'm just suggesting he come back for me. Find the table, and he's probably okay. So we'll play with that part at the end. So, but here's the takeaway on that, especially like for couples and stuff, right? You can just do this. Got it. Sorry, baby. Got it. And then you can go. Right? So all that finesse is just fun. It comes, and then like this took me a long time to get because I was such a therapist head. I couldn't really get the nurturing side of it into my system. So it took me a bit to figure out a way to make this as elegant as they've taught me how to do it. Right? But it's probably one of the single biggest signatures of my massage. It's done more for my clients than probably any single move that I've got. It just gets them out of their head. So send them back.
You know, not that you're looking to get emotional releases from people, but if you are, that'll be the move to do it.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.